Hello everybody, my name is Jen and welcome to the book Refuge and welcome to my April TBR, which the month kind of got away from me. Usually I have this filmed a little earlier, but that's okay. It's gonna be great. I put quite a few books on this TBR, mostly because, I read quite a lot, and also I'm really trying to be a little more conscious about which books that I choose so that I can be working through TBRs that I own. So we're going to dive right in and we're going to start with the books that I am buddy reading for different reasons. So some of them are book clubs and some are, I just reached out to a couple friends the other day and I was like, hey, we haven't done a buddy read in a while. What do you want to buddy read? And we picked out a couple. So let's go ahead and start. First off, I have to start with my favorite buddy read to do every month for my book club, which is this month we are reading Texas Destiny by Lorraine Heath. This is for the Rake Appreciation Society, a book club started by my friend Crystal and I, and I'm so excited. This is about, well, let's just read the back of it, okay? This is the re-release. I actually love the recovers of this series more than the originals, and that doesn't always happen, but I just think this is so beautiful. So this is what it says. It says, he's fallen for a woman. Anxious to meet her soon-to-be husband, Dallas Lee, for the first time, mail-order bride Amelia Carson is en route to Fort Worth, Texas. When she steps off the train and locks eyes with her betrothed, she immediately feels drawn to him, but the cowboy standing before her isn't Dallas. Instead, Dallas's brother Houston has been sent to accompany her on the 3-week journey to the ranch where she'll begin her new life. Who belongs to another. So that's supposed to be, he's fallen for a woman who belongs to another. The war Houston Lee fought has left him with visible scars, a daily reminder of his cowardice on the battlefield. Denying his intense attraction to Amelia, he is determined to deliver her untouched, as promised. But during their long, dangerous trip, he can't help but admire her inner strength and fearlessness. And when she looks at him, as if she can see beyond the scarred face and read his innermost thoughts, he loses his heart to her. Now, as they near the ranch, Houston must choose to remain loyal to his brother or find the courage to fight for the woman he's convinced is his destiny. So I'm very excited to have this. I have Texas Glory as well, and I have Texas Splendor, but I'm going to get them in the pretty new covers because I think this is so beautiful. So there we go. We're going to be reading this. The live show for this one, hold on, I have the counter here, is going to be April 8th at 7 p.m. Central Time. Okay, that's going to be amazing. I'm super, super excited. The next buddy book club that I'll be a part of is, I've been asked to be a part of the historical Hellions for the month of April, and they're going to be reading Shanna by Kathleen E. Woodwis, which is perfect because I actually have started Shanna. I started reading this book back in January, and then I got a little bit distracted by other things, but when Jess reached out to me, this book club is done by Jess and Samantha. They do this one. I just wanted to jump into it. I have heard that this is one of the most romantic books some people have read. I don't know. It's one of my friends from back home. It's one of her favorites. I know that this is about Shanna and Roark because I have started this book, and he's actually a man on death row, and she needs to get married to appease her father. And so she decides to marry a man on death row so that he'll die, and then she'll be a widow, and her father won't force her to marry anyone else because she's already a widow now. Unfortunately for her, the man that she forces to marry her, he ends up living, and he becomes kind of obsessed with his now wife and decides that she's the only one meant for him. So that's what I know about it. I have one of the first printing copies. This is from 1977. And yeah, I'm already 110 pages in, but this puppy is over 600 pages. So it's going to be quite the journey. But the Historical Hellions, that live show is on April 24th at 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern, I believe. So very excited. Thank you, ladies, for inviting me. I can't wait to chat about it. Then I have 3 buddy reads that I asked to do. So I reached out to my friend Bree at In Love and Words. We hadn't done a buddy read together in quite a while, and so I asked her you know, she wanted to pick one if she had something in mind, and I'm really excited about what she chose. So she doesn't know anything about this one, so I'm not gonna like say anything, but I've heard a lot of great things about this. So she picked Flock by Kate Stewart. This is on Kindle Unlimited, so I just grabbed it. I believe this one is a trilogy, and they're all like connected to each other, and I believe that the heroine has multiple love interests. And I don't know if that means it's a reverse harem or a menage or whatever, I don't know. But I've been hearing great things from some of my friends, so I was like, yeah, that sounds like a great one, let's read it together. So I'll be reading that with Bree. And then I reached out to my gal Jessin from Jessin Reads Romance from the Smart Women Reads Romance podcast, and we've been reading a lot of the same books lately because I read books and tell her to read them, and vice versa. But we haven't read one like together in a while. And so I was like, hey, what do you want to read together? So I made us a spinner wheel because she's like, I would really read any genre. And I was like, okay. And so we landed on historical. And then I was like, hey, what if we read one of those Catherine Coulters that you just bought? And I've been wanting to reread. So astute people will know that I was going to read a Catherine Coulter in March, but it kind of got away from me. And like, that was the third book in the series, and I decided we would start at the beginning. So we're going to start at the beginning and read The Sherbrooke Bride by Catherine Coulter. This happens to be the copy that Jessin sent me because she got a huge lot of Catherine Coulters. And so we're going to read this one. So this one is about Douglas Sherbrooke, who's the Earl of Northcliffe, and he has been wanting to marry Melisande, who's this really beautiful woman, but he gets tricked into marrying her younger sister Alexandra instead, who she's been in love with him for like her whole life, or it feels like it's her whole life for her, but he is pretty upset that he was, you know, tricked into marrying someone he didn't expect he was marrying, and so she has to try to convince him that they should stay together and that she is the right choice for him and that he shouldn't annul the marriage and kick her out of the house, basically. So this, I'm very excited to reread this one. I'm especially excited to read it with Jessin because we think pretty similarly about historical romances and a lot of other romances too, so it should be really fun. So I'm going to read this with Jessin. I found the audiobooks for these on Scribd too, so that'll be cool. And then the last buddy read I want to talk about is our channel buddy read. So I did something a little bit different this month because I just was like, I want to change it up again about how we pick. So I had put a post on my community page on YouTube, and I had people give me recommendations for books that they wanted us to read as the buddy read. I picked out of that list, like I'm just being honest, I picked out of that list books that I hadn't read and ones that I was interested in reading, because I have no interest in picking one that I just don't want to get to, and then it's just a like bummer for you guys because I don't end up reading it. So I put them all on a spinner wheel, and I spun the wheel this morning, and this is what we picked. We got The Brit by Jodi Ellen Malpaz, and I'm pretty excited for this because I think it's like a dark romance, and I think it said that it was like, I don't remember if it was like millionaire or if it had mafia. I think it has like mafia ties in it or something, but I haven't read a Gem book in a long time. I have read her This Man series before, and like one other one, like before I was kind of doing like romance booktube and everything. So I'm actually excited. This is her newest release. I think this will be really fun. So if you aren't already, make sure you join my Discord in the description down below, and we will do our buddy read with Gem, which will be The Brit, in April. So that'll be fun. All right, so then I want to go through my card picks. So every month I have a TBR tin that back in December you guys all gave me prompts for, and I pulled them out, and I actually pulled these last night because I picked them the night before so that I can have the books ready to do this. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you what I drew and like what we're going to be reading for it, okay? So the first one I got was Read a Book That Is Blue, and I'm actually going to pin that with, because I also drew Reread a Julia Quinn, which I'm very excited to do. So what I ended up picking is Just Like Heaven by Julia Quinn, which is the first book in the Smith-Smythe quartet. So this one is blue, and it's a Julia Quinn. This one is really cute. I'll read the back of it. because she has cute backs on these. This one says, Honoria Smythe Smith is A really bad violinist. B, still miffed at being nicknamed Bug as a child. C, not in love with her older brother's best friend. D, all of the above. Marcus Holroyd is A, the Earl of Chatteris. B, regrettably prone to sprain ankles. C, not in love with his best friend's younger sister. D, all of the above. Together they A, eat quite a bit of chocolate cake. B, survive a deadly fever and the world's worst musical performance. C, fall quite desperately in love. It's Julia Quinn at her best, so you know the answer is D, all of the above. I am so excited to read this. I haven't read the Smythe Smith series since it was like coming out, basically. I always love reading her inscriptions or her dedications because she dedicates every book to her husband. And in this one it says this: for Pam Snegler Jaffe, you are a goddess in every way. And also for Paul, even though when I went to him for medical advice to save my hero, he replied, he has to die. Her husband's a doctor. It's really cool. So we're going to read that for those two prompts. Then I got a Read a Step Back Saturday pick. And so what I do when I get that is I go back on my Instagram and I look through all my Step Back Saturdays to see which one I want to read. And I was really excited about this one because I've been wanting to read this author so badly. And luckily, I've used her as a Step Back Saturday, so I was able to pick her. So I picked What Happens in Scotland by Jennifer McQuiston. This one has one of my, look at this, step back up against the wall. So this one says, she woke up married and then she ran. So she woke up married. When Lady Georgette Thorold awoke, she knew her corset hanging from the armoire, a very handsome, very naked Scotsman lying beside her, and a wedding ring on her finger. Before the attractive stranger can tell her his name, Georgette does the only sensible thing. She runs for it. Little does she know, James Mackenzie isn't clear on what happened the night before either. All he knows is that his money is missing, and the stunning woman who just ran from the room is either his wife or a thief, or possibly both. What happens in Scotland when two complete strangers fall madly, deeply in love. I really want to try this book. So I picked this one because I've used this step back before. So we're going to read that for that one. And then one of the other ones was Read a Rock Star, Millionaire, or Sports Romance. So for that one, I'm actually going to be reading the new release, The Glass Slipper by Kay Webster. This book comes out on the 13th. I was already wanting to read this one this month. I definitely will read it in April. So that one, that's the third book in a trilogy. That's a Cinderella retelling, and the hero is a billionaire businessman. And then the last card that I drew was Ask Crystal for a recommendation, which was really fun. So she actually gave me 3 recommendations, and from those, I ended up picking a book that I just bought because of her, which she happened to put on the list, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. So I am going to read Love at First by Kate Claiborne. She recently read this as an ARC, and she said it was one of the romantic, beautiful romances that she'd read in a while, which I really try to take that seriously when Crystal says that to me. So this one, I guess they meet when they're young, and then unexpected situations bring them back together again. So this is about Will and Nora. So I'm very excited to give this a go. I found the audiobook for this one as well. So I'm gonna give this a go. Crystal says it's a good one, so we're gonna try it. Okay, then the rest of my TBR, I went through my owned books, both in my physical and in my Kindle TBR, to continue with the momentum and to keep reading. So I'm just gonna go through some of these really quick. So I want to try to read Pretty Bride by Katie Wilde. This is the 3rd book in the Deadland series. These are novellas about barbarians and their brides. I've read the first 2 already, the Midwinter Mail Order Bride and the Midnight Bride. I've read those in the 2 previous months, so I'm going to try reading this one. Then I'm going to try to get to Royally Screwed by Emma Chase. This is a book that I got as a gift. I had it on my TBR, and someone sent it to me, which was really, really sweet. I got it as a gift. And so this one is about a prince, and in Manhattan he meets this beautiful beauty, and he wants to find out more about her. And it turns out that she's a waitress, and so he ends up dating a waitress. So I also have the audiobook for this one. So I'm going to give this one a go because I'm trying to read some of the physical books that I've been given as gifts or that I have purchased, because I have a lot of like these self-published ones that I have had on my wish list and people have sent me and I haven't read them yet. So it's time to do it. So this is going to be one that I'm going to get to. Then I want to try to get to Brother Song by TJ Klune. I was a little overwhelmed by the first 2 books in this series, and I don't mean that they had like too much, but they were just so angsty, but they were also so beautiful. Like, I completely understand why people are obsessed with them, and I really loved Wolf Song. The second one, Raven Song, is Raven Song second? I don't know which one second. That one was a bit much for me because it went over so much from the first one, and it's a lot of painful stuff that it was just a lot for me. But I want to continue this series. I bought all 4 books when I read the first one, and so I want to continue and read the next one. So I'm going to try that one. And then I have 2 more historicals I want to take on. I plan to read the next book in the Sinster series. I'm on to book 6, All About Love. Here's a step back for you. I love the leg hitch there. This is about Lucifer and Phillida. I'm not sure. But I love this series. I've been listening to them. They're done by a male narrator who's like really good. So I'm very excited to continue. I think this is the 6th cousin too. So I think it starts to shift to other people after this one. Like, I know there's one about Chillingsworth, and I know there's ones about the sisters. So I'm very excited to see where we go for that. So this is Gabriel's brother too, which should be fun. So I'm planning to read that. So I thought I'd tell you about it. Then I'm continuing trying to read some Lisa Kleypas every month. That isn't an official goal, but Crystal is also trying to read all of Lisa Kleypas this year, and I've read a good amount of Lisa Kleypas, but there's still a lot of her backlog to go. And since I really love Stranger in My Arms, I was like, let's just keep going with the older ones. And so I just grabbed Prince of Dreams. I love this cover so much, and I love the inside too. I love her red hair. This one, I believe, has some like, it's like time travel or paranormal, because it says she is his future and his past. A wealthy and bitter exile, the most dangerous and desirable man in all of England, he burns to possess a proud, headstrong beauty who is promised to another. But winning Emma Stokehurst's exquisite hand through threats and determination does nothing to fill the empty space in Nicholas's heart, until passion's magic carries the handsome, tormented prince back to a bygone era of splendor and romantic dreams. For there his destiny awaits him in a distant life, and in one remarkable woman's tender touch, achingly familiar but gloriously new, he must seek the elusive promise of ecstasy and learn at last to love. So I don't know what the heck that means, but I love Lisa Kleypas, and I'm ready to keep going. I know this one doesn't have the best ratings, but I usually always find something to take from a Kleypas novel, so I'm going to keep going. Then, two last things. So my best friend Shauna, who is my childhood best friend, and we share a lot of our book recommendations, she has been trying to get me to read Gianna Darling's like first books for a long, long time. And Gianna Darling has this duet coming out that's called When Heroes Fall and When Villains Rise. And the characters who that is about, I guess, are in previous books. So I'm going to be reading The Affair by Gianna Darling. There's cheating in this book. There is some other aspects I don't like, but my best friend promised me, she's like, I can't imagine you won't like this book. And before anyone else ever gave me book recommendations, this woman gave me book recommendations. So I'm going to trust this, even though it has a trope that I hate and already has my blood a little hot. I'm going to go for it. Okay? I'm going to trust her and see what happens. We'll see where it goes. And I also love Gianna Darling. So it's not like it's completely out of the realm, but I'm just nervous. Like, I don't really want to read those aspects, but I trust Gianna Darling to show me something that I wouldn't expect. So we're going to go for it. And then the last one that I want to mention, I meant to mention these books together, but I've already talked about one of them, is the new releases coming out that I plan to read. So Wild Child by Eloise James comes out on the 30th of March, And so I plan to read that in April. It is the 7th book in the Wild Window Castle, and I love them. So I will be reading that as soon as I get it. And then The Glass Slipper is the other new release I plan to read, and I've already talked about that. So there we go. That is everything that I am planning to read with other people and with myself. There are some other books coming out in April, but some of them I've already read because I have ARCs for, and some of them don't come out till the end of the month. So I didn't want to put them on here. But anyway, thank you so much. I hope you'll join in on some of these buddy reads. Make sure you check out my Discord if you want to read The Brit with me. It's going to be great. And yeah, make sure you check out my social medias down below. If you're interested in channel memberships and want more behind the scenes action, make sure you check that out as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.